Hi everyone, and thanks for tuning in to this week's special Christmas-filled episode of the Sounds of Stadia podcast. This week we'll be discussing all the early Christmas presents that dropped onto the Stadia store over the last few days, an update on our latest live stream and video content, and plus we have some cracking Christmas deals to discuss alongside some achievements which are going to help us reflect on our 2019 in gaming. But without further delay, join me as we slide down the chimney and into episode 13. Here we go, ho ho! Hello gamers and welcome to episode 13 of the Sounds of Stadia podcast. Will the episode be unlucky for some of you? You'll have to stay tuned in to find out. I'm joined by my usual co-hosts in the Stadia seats this week. All the way from the Midlands, our Christmas captain of the live stream, Tom.
Ho ho ho.
And alongside him we've got Santa's sexy little helper, Richie.
Hello. Sorry, Tom just got me there.
Oh, he got you, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Good afternoon, gentlemen, and welcome to this week's show. Hope you're both well.
Yeah, doing all right. Thank you, Chris.
Doing all right. Broke up for Christmas.
Doing all right. I have one day left. One shift left on Monday.
One day left. Same. So we've got loads of fun Stadia news to cover this week, but before we deep dive into all the streaming excitement, we just wanted to make you all aware that we've got another video available right now, live over on our YouTube channel, where we play Farming Simulator 2019 for about 2 hours. So if you're new to Stadia or you have an interest in the world of agriculture, go check that video out now. It gives you comments, your concerns, and any feedback you may have, as it really helps us create more of the content that you want to see going into 2020. And don't forget to click that little subscribe button too, just so you're kept in the loop when new future streams do come out. We also wanted to give a shout out to everyone who joined us over the last 2 weeks and got involved in the SOS community chat across all of our digital platforms. So I think a shout out to Ashes to Ashes, Ben Moxham, Seven, Mimic Gamer 06, Gamers Hometown, Chase, and a bunch of other people who did drop into the chat. And just give us your input and your feedback and join us for the ride, essentially. And I think another special mention to Stadia Source website, where we are now official affiliates of the site. So thanks to Dan and the team over there for keeping up the positive news, all things Stadia. But wanted to kickstart the show with our weekly dose of
the super sexy special Stadia stories segment, aka the news.
Nearly. Little bit closer.
I still think you do that better than me, Tom. I did it last week.
I was going to say, Tom, how do you feel about giving up your rights to it last week?
Do you know what? Fair play, Richie. Fair play.
did an admirable job instead.
He did.
I'm not going to lie, I did have to practice it a bit.
He took the reins and he took the bull by the horns.
And I didn't entirely fuck up.
Not entirely. No, we did well. We missed you last week, Tom.
We did.
We really did. It was. We didn't talk shit about you or anything. It was
no. Of course you didn't. Of course. It's not like I can listen back to the previous podcast on a digital platform such as
Spotify,
YouTube,
Google Podcasts, iTunes. Is it still called iTunes? I know
Is it Apple Podcasts?
Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, I know iTunes was killed dead. So interesting bit actually, as we mentioned, the Stadia Source website. If you try and actually open Stadia Source on Internet Explorer, it comes up with a delightful message that says, "Unfortunately, we do not support Internet Explorer as it is an extremely outdated browser that doesn't conform to proper web standards. Try using another browser."
Good for you.
Such as Edge,
I'm
Firefox,
glad somebody
or Chrome.
sides with me on that.
I was gonna ask about Edge, Microsoft Edge.
Yeah. It's obviously Internet Explorer died a long time ago as well. To everyone's surprise. But yeah, I just thought that was a brilliant little write-up there. So I don't know if that's via Stadia Source or not, but
it didn't die. They just rebranded it as Microsoft Edge.
Well, yeah, it's exactly the same. Rebranding goes a long, long way. So starting with the news then this week, our super sexy segment. We've got a big story dropped at the top of the week on Monday. We have games, lads. We have new games.
games.
We have some very good games.
Some good games just in time for Christmas. So Santa has emptied his sack all over Stadia this week, and we've got some exciting new games. Borderlands 3 dropped. We had Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. And slightly later in the week, we got Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint. So, in my opinion, two massive AAA titles there from the gaming world, and one maybe AA, we'll say, a little battery on the side.
Yeah, it's a bit more niche, isn't it, really? But obviously a big fan base right there. So it's still really good to see those games actually coming over to Stadia now as well. But as you say, Borderlands 3 and Ghost Recon Breakpoint, brilliant, fantastic.
That's what we've been needing. Like when I saw that announcement, I had a big massive grin on my face, and I thought we finally got what I would class as new games that came out this year. Everyone on other consoles are still currently playing in them, so I didn't feel like we were missing out on any conversation. I mean, DLC, which we'll get onto, is in the mindset of people right now as well. So these games are very much alive and well. But yeah, what are our thoughts on them?
Well, I, for one, am really glad that Borderlands 3 is finally out because we'll talk about it a little bit more later. But it is a title that, as you said before, it is very much one of these games that is new. It's not been out very long on other platforms, so people are probably running through their second or third playthrough of that at the moment on harder difficulties, and they're doing a bit of loot farming, a bit of end games stuff. But it gives us a chance now to sort of experience it on a different platform, on a new platform. I'll be then talking about Ghost Recon Breakpoint, on the other hand. We've got some new features. We've got some new features there that you cannot get on any other platform.
What would those features be, Tom?
I believe they're calling it Stadia Connect. And the idea is basically when you are playing a tactical game, you can see the viewpoints of other people within your team on your screen at the same time without having any impact on your gameplay whatsoever. And because, again, of the architecture that's set up at Google, it allows that to happen seamlessly without any sort of impact on anybody within the system. So it seems fantastic, particularly for a game like a Tom Clancy title. I'd love to see that transition into other titles as well. I know we talked about in a live stream the other day that we'd like to see it in games like Rainbow Six Siege and possibly into some other titles that we talked about. But you can go and watch that on the live stream at another point.
That was a Borderlands 3 live stream as well. So you can see us playing Borderlands 3 on Stadia.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we all managed to make it.
Yeah,
we did. What do you think about the titles anyway, Chris? What's your take on it?
Well, speaking of just off the back of that Stream Connect thing you mentioned there, I know Ghost Recon Wildlands had an interesting feature when you did take down an enemy encampment, and you could actually synchronize your shots with the rest of the people on your team, and it gives you like a miniature countdown as to when to pull the trigger. So if you were all kind of scouting the place out and you all like basically took one enemy in your sights, you could time it like across all online platforms just to get your headshot timed perfectly, so it didn't distract any guards or ring any alarms off. It sounds like this is a very enhanced version of this for Breakpoint in line with Stadia. I love the thought of being able to camera share and just get that little snippet of insight into your fellow assassin's viewpoint. I'm curious as to how it would work with multiplayer games. Like if you were playing, say, GoldenEye on the Nintendo 64, and you had the ability to quickly pop in and just check out your enemy's camera, that would have helped me find many people in the toilets and the ventilation shafts and stuff.
I'd imagine this is more of a feature that the developers can choose to switch on or off for their particular game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure it's not just universally you can spy on other people's screens. Otherwise, that would ruin a lot of shootouts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But in terms of the games, I, like Richie, have been holding off on Borderlands 3 from other platforms, just so we can jump in and enjoy it fresh on Stadia.
Regular listeners will know how much we've been waiting for Borderlands.
Yeah, just a little while. They did manage to squeeze it in before the end of the year, at least, so they kept true to their promise. Dragon Ball Xenoverse, I know nothing about. Nothing whatsoever. I believe it's a fighting game, is it not?
Yeah, fighting game with RPG elements. There's a little bit of online to it as well. But I've got no experience of playing it myself, but I'm a big Dragon Ball fan anyway. So it's something I'm considering. The price point on it, though, has me sort of maybe waiting a little bit longer because that has been out a little bit longer. And there's also DLC for for the game. So I'm sort of like umming and ahhing over whether to pay the full retail price for it when I know that there is additional content that is not currently showing for us at the moment.
Yeah, certainly. Well, I know nothing of it anyway, but we're all big, massive Samurai Showdown fans now, though. So
Sam Shaw.
Sam
Shaw.
Sam Shaw. Who needs Dragon Ball?
Some respect.
Yeah. So who needs Dragon Ball anyway? But I'm sure for those of the fans out there, it's a fighting game, which I've shown my disconcern for fighting games in the past.
Dragon Ball's a weird one for me. I've always been a big fan of it, but I've never been interested in any of the games. Not even a passing interest, really.
Oh, I just know people set on fire in the anime and can fly.
That's about it. Yeah,
I went down the Pokemon route as a child with my Saturday morning cartoons, so not quite Dragon Ball. And the final one, Ghost Recon Breakpoint. It's another game I've held off on this year. I've noticed Ghost Recon Wildlands has popped up in a lot of sales, and I know Ubisoft have explicitly came out and said they weren't happy with its sales performance, even though it was charting in the top sales pretty much all year since release. But they've came out and said they're going to rework a lot of stuff. There's a big roadmap in place for this game, and if any developer says that, you're usually a bit iffy with it. So like when EA come out and say we've got loads of plans for it, you don't know if they're going to stand by it. But I think Ubisoft, with their Rainbow Six Siege support, they're going into year 4, year 5 now. That game's gone from strength to strength. So if any developer's going to double down on a game and say Breakpoint isn't where we want it, but you know what, we're going to commit to fixing it, that's a really exciting one for years to come, I'd wager.
I think it's one of them games, if they are thinking this is going to be a bit of a long burn, it's going to be around for 4 or 5 years. I don't know how that affects with next generation consoles come out. Mm-hmm. But you never know, in a year or two's time, they might go, here's it on PlayStation Plus, here's it on Stadia Pro, as a free thing to you get your first season for free, but then season 2's out, season 3 is out there. Yeah, that's how they can get people in.
Yeah, you get them little time bumps, don't you? Like season passes work so well with games as a service, and I think Ghost Recon's got a great potential for that. Have either of you guys got intentions on purchasing it while it's on the sale?
Not considering at the moment, because it's Christmas.
Yeah. I'm on the fence where it's currently priced down. And I'm kind of in two minds of, do I just buy it now while it's cheap, or do I wait and hope that it'll go down cheaper again? Similar with the Tomb Raider games, kind of held off buying them on the cheap. But with Breakpoint, because I've never played it before, whereas I had played the Tomb Raider ones, I had reservations around them. But with Breakpoint being a brand new game this year that I've not jumped into, I'm very, very close. But again, at the moment, the problem with dropping these games all within 1 week is you've got limited funds, especially this time of year. And realistically, I've just bought Borderlands, so that should probably keep me content for quite some time.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. All of a sudden, I find myself with a bit more of a backlog than I was like a month or two ago.
Yeah, it's a real hard life being a gamer.
It really is. I still haven't finished Persona. I haven't played Persona in like a fortnight.
You're never going to finish Persona.
I'm probably not, but I still need to do. I've got Jedi Fallen Order, I've got Borderlands.
You're an adult, Richard. You haven't got time for all these things.
I know.
Yeah. Bills.
Yeah.
So I think overall though, we're just really happy that we've got some games coming out. They were, those two in particular, I think Breakpoint and Borderlands were the big tentpole games that we were promised by the end of 2019. So to see them out in the live on such a short turnaround, it's great to have.
I don't think again though, it's just
don't think there's anything outstanding.
No. They've met all of their commitments now. They did say these titles, 2019, they are there. Obviously, we've got the ones that were originally announced that have been delayed, but that's not really, Google's fault.
Yeah, Doom Eternal and stuff. It'll be their launch day. But I think looking ahead to 2020, I think we can all agree one of the things Google really need to kind of get sorted out is the release date announcements.
I think not just that. It's not just the release announcements. I also think that looking at the competition now, going into 2020, I think we're going to see a huge competition open up with xCloud, a huge competition from rival services. And let's be frank, Google need to have this library ready, I think, for the base launch. I think they need to have a good, large library at the point that they're going to push Stadia base live to everyone in order to even consider competing, because otherwise Microsoft, from what I see so far, I think Microsoft are looking to sweep that market.
Yeah.
There's a few outliers I think they're missing. I know you're not a fan of this, Tom, but I think Fortnite getting there on there, especially for Stadia base, will bring a big user base.
No, I agree. I actually completely agree with that, though.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like the game. I'm not a fan of the game. I don't really dig battle royales that much. But you are absolutely right. I cannot deny. Nobody can sit there and deny the fan base size of a game like that.
If they're smart, they'll do this as a joint release with Stadia base in a promotional, you can get Fortnite now for absolutely free as long as you got a Google Chrome browser.
Yeah, but who created Fortnite is the question.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
It's an Epic game, yeah. So, Epic Games are looking at pushing their own store as well. If you're talking about a competitor like Google, which essentially is still a digital library.
They could always just partner with Google. You don't know what deals Google are arranging behind the scenes in regards to the servers, because the way their infrastructure is now Stadia is a proven concept and it works. I would not be surprised that these conversations have been had with even the likes of Sony, because they've obviously partnered with Microsoft and xCloud around future gaming. And is that in direct competition to Stadia? We don't know. But you've got to believe Google, now they've kind of tried and tested this, they're not going to Nintendo saying, look at your infrastructure, it's shit. No. Do you want to just either lease this from us? We can repackage Stadia as Nintendo Online or some form of variation, because it is all in the cloud and it's digital. It wouldn't take much to actually just put a different skin on it. Yeah. Pair up your Nintendo Pro controller or pair up your Epic controller or whatever route they want to go down. And it's there. That's the great power that they've got, is they've proved it works now. And yeah, you've got to imagine they're going out to all these other companies, like you said, Tom, with Epic. They've got the money, but let's be honest, their infrastructure just is non-existent by the Fortnite servers.
It's very true.
If they go and say, can we have Fortnite and Stadia? And Epic go, well, actually, we've got an idea to bring out a cloud streaming service for our future games. Broker some deal with us financially, and yeah, I think it's a really interesting place. Now they've proved it works. Even if Google don't want to be the sole competitor, they can definitely lease that out.
I suppose what Google have got here is they've got the power to turn around to Epic and say, like, right, look, you've got this incredible title right here, and we have the infrastructure that could see your title expand on a dramatic scale. Let's take, we've said it on the podcast before, let's take Fortnite from 100-player matches, let's push it out to 1,000-player matches. Mm-hmm. And Google would be the company to essentially do that. Microsoft, again, arguably could do it too, Sony less so.
Yeah.
But Google,
the thing is, they could all three do it. I don't think this doesn't necessarily have to be an exclusive thing, and Epic will still get money from the season passes.
Yeah.
You're just giving people another way to play a game that's already very popular.
Yeah.
I think it's gettable.
Yeah, from Google's standpoint, though, like Sony and Microsoft, obviously, they've got their own stuff to deal with. They've got their own back catalogs and legacy and their own kind of future brand image they need to sort out, whereas Google are in this very niche place at the moment where, let's be honest, Stadia beta launch hasn't been amazing. The word on the street across the news infrastructure and such isn't incredibly positive at the moment. They need base to launch super strong with a robust library, and yeah, they can broker these deals because they've proved it works. So yes, it might not be the best. Yeah, it might not be the best brand image. However, if they are going out and talking to other people who are up and coming, why would not go with them? If you partner with Sony or Microsoft, you've got a lot of issues to kind of negate around. Whereas Google's quite a free, open platform to just do with what you want, really.
Agreed.
I do think it's a shame they shot themselves in the foot with the launch, because now they've got the problem of there's quite a lot of influential people in games media out there who dislike Stadia.
Yeah, you're absolutely right with that.
And one thing I've heard podcasts where people who were initially very optimistic about it, as everything went down pre-launch, they've cancelled the thing, and now we're like, well, they'll need to do something impressive to get me back in.
And that's what sort of concerns me a little bit as well, because as a teacher in my particular subject area, I talk a lot about the advancements of technology and so on. And in a lesson I taught recently before we finished for the holidays, I had some of my students talking about like the potential of Stadia. And the general opinion within the class was that they were very much against the idea of it, or saying like, oh, we've heard it's trash, we've heard it doesn't work well, and so on. And it's that sort of thing, because if you think about these kids at the moment who 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, who are playing video games. That we've all been in that position before. This is going to be the future technology for them right there. And if this is the opinion and the marketing message that's out with them at the moment, based on big influencers, as you said, Richie, then that concerns me about the drive moving forward. So Google have got to look for a way to really sort of like clamber up the hill and really sort of drive home the message of saying we are going to make this work, and we're going to show you that this is something you guys need to invest in.
You should have just jumped into Borderlands in the middle of the lesson. Go, oh, it works.
Would have loved to, but we've got a firewall.
I'm teaching.
We've got a curriculum to stick to.
I'm teaching.
But yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that, Tom, because I think different, obviously, demographics and age ranges play a big part in this. And I think with Google Base next year, they need to totally go at this from a fresh standpoint. In my particular industry, I work with mobile phones, and even just talking to the region which I work within, I mentioned it at our last regional meeting where we actually had a Google representative show up again, and they were promoting Stadia being like a future purchase alongside a mobile device. Obviously, the Pixel is going to be the ideal pairing. It runs on 4G, 5G network, which is going to be fantastic for mobile gaming on the go. And the general consensus of everyone in my team was it's a new product. They're a bit unsure of it, but once I jumped in and filled out the explanations of you don't have to buy a console for your I basically pitched it as, come next year when the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X are out, your child or even partner in a lot of cases are going to come to you and say, right, for this Christmas I need $400, $500, whatever the prices may be, to go drop on a brand new console. And then I need to buy X amount of games to play Fortnite. And the way I pitched it is with Stadia, you simply buy the controller if you don't already have one. You sign in, you buy the games you want, you play them with no console. You can play it on tablets, phones, computers, TV with a Chromecast stick. It literally just streams it. Similar to Netflix, no downloads. You'll always play the latest version. And every one of these people in the room, from young to old, from families to single individuals, understood it straight away, and they were a million times more bought into the product based on that brief description. Whether I sold it well, because I do happen to have a podcast centered around Stadia, it obviously has me quite informed.
I think you probably have the information out there.
It really is. It's all marketing and the way you pitch it. And if this is people within, like, again, tech industries, if it's not pitched to the people at the top of the ladder, similar to the influencers, if they don't kind of understand and grasp the benefits and the concept, because again, influencers who are big in the games industry, they don't have the problem with actually putting down the hard cash. They get free download codes. They get free special edition box sets for unboxing videos. They get sent all this stuff for free. Whereas the reality is the people on the ground who work day in, day out to keep up this hobby, as we all know gaming is an expensive hobby, we just alluded to it. The reality is the people who have 3 kids and stuff, you can jump on a Stadia essentially at a free entry level. You need 3 controls, and all your kids can play it with their own login for free. You just have to buy the game.
You mentioned a family with 3 kids. Let's say you got 3 kids, all of them on a PS5. That could be £1,500.
That is. You have to sell one of the child to pay for the other 2 consoles.
It's not even that, though, is it? It's the longevity of the product as well. If you think about a console's life cycle is 5-6 years or so on, then you're going to be looking like in that time you're going to have to shell out the same amount of cash again. Whereas with Stadia, you're just paying like one. I mean, for us, it was £120. You get the Chromecast Ultra, you get 3 months of Pro, you get the actual controller to connect to the Ultra as well. And we've got a product there that we don't ever have to pay for again, apart from the Pro subscription, which you've got to pay for Game Pass or PS Plus anyway. But, you're taking out that massive chunk of cash, that £500 every 5-6 years. So that's exactly the same way I sold it to the students I teach as well, because they've got to understand from a cost-saving perspective, this is the future as well. This is how everything is going to go. Like, it's inevitable is what I'm going to say.
Yeah. Because it really is.
I agree. Streaming is inevitable. I actually prefer physical media on most of my other consoles, but I'm still invested in Stadia because I'm like, well, this is the way I believe it's going to go.
The tipping point is definitely in balance. But yeah, again, Tom, if you went, how many kids do you teach on average? What's in your class?
Class size is usually about 25, 26 students.
Right. So say 25 students there. If you pointed them out one by one and said, have you got £400 on you right now to buy a console? I'd hazard a guess none of them even had more than £5 on them. But the reality is, they can go and beg to their parents all they want. But this is the difference between next Christmas when you go, Mum, Dad, I'd love the new Xbox, I'd love the new PS5, or whatever Nintendo Switch iteration's out. Mum and Dad, check Amazon, Google it, whatever they will do, and they come out and go, oh, maybe it's not this year, Timmy. It's looking a bit pricey at launch. Plus, again, the 40, 60, 70 dollars for the games on top of that. Whereas you could go to them and say, Mum, me and my brother would like Stadia. How much is it? Well, actually, you just need to buy the Chromecast stick. Or again, I'd imagine prices will fluctuate and you'll be able to buy them with or without the controller, and the Chromecast sticks might fluctuate and stuff. But again, we don't know at what point the smart TVs may have integration with just a Chrome browser or a Stadia app. I've got an LG TV that updates all the time for Amazon, Netflix, and Now TV and such. So there's nothing to say they can't broker a deal with LG, get that app on all the smart TVs bought their next Black Friday. Hey ho, you've got an entire new group of tech that's currently live Stadia ready. I can picture that little Stadia ready sticker on the TVs in the electronic stores. Yeah.
I like where your head's at there, because on I've got a Sony TV and the remote actually has a Netflix button. Yep. Imagine having a Google Stadia button on there.
Yep.
Beep, there we go. Yep. On screen.
It's on again, Samsung.
Yeah. But the potentials is huge, and again, because it is just a digital platform, you can put it anywhere there's internet. Just look at all the smart home tech that people have got now. If you said a few years back you'd have infinite amount of speakers and stuff turning on your Christmas lights and playing music and stuff, it seems so alien, and that's the thing with all technology. People are scared of it to start off with because they don't know it. They don't know how it works. But once you've seen a few demos and you've got one or two friends who pick it up and start sharing about it, I really genuinely do believe that the consensus of it will change. And I think the opportunity to relaunch with base next year is the potential's huge. And we just have to guess we'll wait and see.
The time to shine. Yeah.
I think for me, I keep hearing certain people say that they're having lots of problems with lag and stuff. And my internet, I've mentioned this quite a few times in the podcast and in the live streams, I get about 20 megabits per second. And earlier today, I actually did a test playing Borderlands 3, live streaming through my PC hardware, which is rubbish, and it was fine. So I don't know where these people are getting these problems from.
Again,
it's more like a regional thing.
All internet providers are not the same. I know in America, I believe it's Comcast, are notoriously terrible for problems and outages and such as well. And the infrastructure, again, with technology, is going to get better. A lot of countries have rolled out 5G this year, the UK included. It's still, to this day, after several months, it's still only in major cities around the country. So take that infrastructure, fast forward it 2 or 3 years to when 5G is readily available. 5G is cranking out speeds of upwards of 400, 500 meg per second, which is crazy insane. Because there's no wires. The latency levels are phenomenal. Like if you're talking about shooter games with really good ping numbers, 5G is designed for that. And again, it's because it's so early. It's not even learned to walk properly yet. But once that in our house, even people who have really bad wired home broadband will be able to purchase just a 5G Wi-Fi box, hook it up to an unlimited SIM on mobile, sack off your broadband plan with Comcast or Virgin or BT, whoever your provider is, and just all you need to do is sit next to your device and you're good to go on your laptop or anything. And the great thing with this is it's only going to get better. So everyone who's bemoaning it now, it's not going to get any worse.
No, a quick segue from that is it shocks me that we live in a country where 5G is being rolled out, yet our average broadband speeds and fiber optic speeds are below the speeds of 5G. So it shocks me that we're in this position, but you are absolutely right. Like with the launch of 5G, once that goes like nationwide, that is going to really just sort of make this so much more feasible.
Yeah, I think that the issue there is just it's expensive to lay the cables down. So at some point, the cable is a limiting factor, whether it's fiber optic or hardwired.
Yes, very true. Yeah.
And then if you want to improve speeds beyond that, then you have to dig up the road, put the new cable down.
It's very
every household in the
effort.
country. Yeah. It's a very expensive thing to do.
It's very costly, and you do need a lot of planning permission and stuff for local councils to go ahead with groundwork. And the reality is that some of these cables are decades old. And absolutely. Yes, they've got new technology that can supercharge the cables, and it can change old copper lines into virtually what we've known as fiber optic, just using special little technology twists and such on it. But yeah, the future's digital, the future's 5G, 4G, 6G, whatever it may be in years to come. But the reality is, yeah, I've been in London and Birmingham the last few weeks, and I've been getting speeds of about 280 meg on average on a 5G device.
That's crazy.
So if I'm hooking my laptop up to a hotspot and playing Stadia, no issues whatsoever. And again, it's only going to get better.
Yeah. I just hope like mobile data companies start reducing like things like data caps.
Well, looking at most mobile,
not reducing data caps, increasing them.
Yeah, increasing data caps.
Don't reduce them.
Richie's living the
this was all UK mobile companies went unlimited. So all the top networks in the UK offer unlimited plans now. I'm on one myself, and yeah, I don't have to worry about anything upload, download. It's just unlimited, no caps. I know a lot of broadband providers in America and the States are very specific about data caps and limitations with upload and speed throttling. If you've used a certain amount, you pass a threshold and they just limit your speed output. Again, it's only going to improve. The pushback from regulators in the UK, Ofcom, eventually the consumer kind of, the dam, as you will break. And there no longer can be beholden to these privatized companies because, yeah, Ofcom and local governments will get on top of them to change it. I know America and California had a big problem with, what was it, the internet problem they had earlier in this year? It's not about latency, it was something to do with coverage or bandwidth or something. Okay. California rules changed around it. But again, I don't live there, so I'm not too sure. But it's all unlimited. And again, yeah, future's bright.
Future's orange?
I wasn't going to say it, but yeah.
Should we move on then?
Yes.
Back to 10 years ago.
Exactly. So speaking of all things futuristic and digital, which most people will be getting in their households, hopefully, is a little bundle of Christmas present excitement. We got an update this week that came out that Google and Stadia have given everybody who's a founder an additional buddy pass as an early Christmas gift.
Yay. Was it just founders and was the Premier Editions as well?
I thought it was founders.
It is just founders. I can confirm that.
So yeah, we all got another one.
Yeah.
Happy days. We can share that out. I actually have a feeling, I don't know about you two, but I'm going to just give another one away on a future live stream.
That was kind of my plan. I've sounded a couple of friends out. No one's actually took me up on the offer yet. So if they haven't, by the time we do another live stream together, the buddy passes up.
If you're listening to this right now, Luke, Gary, Lee, Rob, anyone who's not got one, hit us up. We'll give you it for free. You can join Stadia and trial it. If not, it's going to go on the live stream, and then you'll have to slog through 9 hours of content just to get the damn code. So there's an easier way. Friends with benefits, not in that way. But yes,
maybe
just drop one of us a message and collectively we'll sort you out with a code as you are our friends. For those of you who are not quite that close of a friend, yeah, you'll have to watch out for the next live stream, which no doubt will be some point early in the new year as well, because we're getting quite good at this streaming shit, if I do say so myself.
We'll prompt you if it's going to be a giveaway via Twitter a couple of days beforehand, because we have actually been doing a few random smaller streams lately.
Yeah, we're just testing stuff out. Getting a feel for it, getting prepped for a 2020 refresh like Stadia. Gonna go big, gonna double down on streams, and we're still enjoying it, so we're definitely gonna keep going. Let's have a look. So aside from an additional buddy pass, I think it's a nice little positive that we didn't expect.
Nice gesture.
Yeah. Whether it was always planned or it was just to do with some of the community feedback around game releases maybe, or maybe they're just looking to expand that pool of user player base and get the way. It's free advertising essentially.
It's not even that, it's free. It's getting people on the platform for free quickly. Yeah. And it's nice for us founders because he's an extra gift. Merry Christmas. So it's a win-win. It really is.
Merry Christmas indeed.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
So speaking of early Christmas gifts, then another bit of news that dropped this week was the gift of achievements.
Yep.
So Richie, you've looked into this a little bit for us. So Google Stadia now has trophies, achievements, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, they kind of shadow dropped this a bit because people were already talking about it before Google announced it. That seems to be the way they're handling these things. At the moment, you can only check your achievement through the Chrome browser, but I think it is there in the app that just says coming soon. It's really easy.
That might be to the app, coming soon.
Yeah, it's really easy to check. You just go on your profile and
click on your accounts, is it? And then it just says view achievements.
Yeah,
Simple as that. So we're glad they're here. We had a little bit of a joke pre-show around they're still here before Nintendo's.
Yeah.
So Nintendo's what the oldest, one of the oldest video game companies, if not the oldest that's still around. And yeah, we're still waiting, Nintendo.
Yeah, I think it's more of an ideologically driven thing for Nintendo. I mean, I'd love achievements of some description on Switch, but they're not coming.
Yeah,
but,
I do know a lot of the games have kind of in-house achievements. So I know the Mario games and such, you've got like collect all the stars and unlock all levels and stuff. But yeah, aside from that, it's always nice, I think, to have that overlay of achievements, whether you care about them or not. It's something that drives game interest. For anyone who's got that kind of collective personality or that nature to want 100% something, it adds a lot to that by having these little chapter markers so people can tick box things off and say, right, I've done that, I've done that, I've done that. And Ubisoft games lend themselves to that fantastically. So I don't know how far through Assassin's Creed Odyssey you are yet, Tom, or what achievements have popped. But I know, I got the platinum on that, and it took me a good while to wrap that one up. I think I must have played it for well over 16 months.
Yeah, we're making some progress with it. I think I'm only around about chapter 2, pushing chapter 3 at the moment. But yeah, as you say, there's a lot of stuff to do in that game. So it's going to take some time.
I think my final playtime with the DLC was about 135 hours.
Got all of that to do.
But again, now you've got them achievements there. Again, if you jump into it, it's a nice little kind of just a checkbox thing to go through. And I think a couple of episodes back we mentioned that the game's so rich in depth. The achievements sometimes funnel you towards storylines or areas of the map that you wouldn't have otherwise explored. So it's a big level of interest for all those poor game designers, sound technicians, and people who actually built and created those levels and storylines. A little trophy sat there saying, "Go and see Mr. X." It's a good way to funnel you down towards Resident Evil and other things.
You mentioned platinum trophies. That is something that the Stadia achievements, I actually think it's nicer there, but it seems a little lacking. Like, where PlayStation, you have your trophies of different caliber, you have your game score on Xbox. The achievements in Stadia at the moment are literally just the achievements. There's no platinum trophy for getting them all or anything. They're just there. There's no like profile level or anything at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's a very basic version of it, but I'm glad they're there.
Yeah, they exist, which we knew they were coming. But again, all this stuff seems to be rolled out gradually, and no doubt at some point we'll give them some kind of little caveat that'll grade them as gold, silver, bronze, whatever it may be. But yeah, what are the? Again, I've not looked yet. If they got images next to the achievements, like little icons to represent.
They've just got little icons. Tom, it might be worth you having a look at the Borderlands one, see how they compare to the PlayStation icons, because I just don't know.
Yeah, I think pretty much they're using the same sort of images. They're just pulled straight over. It must be by the developers who actually sort of put the images in place, really, for these kinds of things. But I think it's quite nice. Like, I know it's not a fully fleshed out system at the moment, but it's still nice to get that little pop up. For those of you who haven't actually had the opportunity to test it yet, when you get a new achievement, it pops up at the top in the center of the screen. You get the little black Stadia screen pops up with the achievement name, the image, and you get a nice little noise that comes with it as well. And it's quite a crisp noise that actually does just let you know that you've got it there. And I think it's quite nice. I like the way that it sort of drives you to do things in the game. But because all of the games we've got so far are sort of older titles or new-ish titles, it's sort of, waiting to be seen what new games offer in the ways of it. But as you say, when they start rolling out things like the tiered achievements, then we might see something linked to our accounts in a little more detail on that front anyway.
It's at the moment they've got the basics done very well, but it'd be nice if they put their own like little twist to it.
Yeah, certainly. So the achievements are live, they exist. I'm happy about it, we're all happy about it, and I do think they're going to get a little bit more detailed as time goes on.
I think the achievements are just one that show that they are rolling these features out fairly quickly.
Yeah, I think very much they're all similar to, I've just mentioned there about tick box exercise. Google technicians and engineers must be sat there literally with a list of things that they need to get kind of signed off before Stadia base launches next year. And yeah, a lot of these really, really day-to-day things, you can almost visualize where they're just working their way down this list and going, right, this week we've got to do this, get that active and live and online. this week, this. And the great thing with all these updates is they're all happening without us having to download a firmware update.
Yeah.
It's one of the massive benefits of it.
Yeah, at no point with Stadia are you going to turn on your console and get a firmware update due 5.0, 6.0, whatever it might be.
Then all your games update after that.
And then all of your online games are made redundant immediately because you can't get online without the latest version.
You've got a 25 gig update to get for a certain game and so on there.
Yeah.
On a 20 megabit per second internet, that can take an hour.
Oh, certainly. I mean, I don't have bad internet, but when I bought Red Dead Redemption 2 last year, my word, I was waiting. I think it got delivered by Amazon about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't think I got onto the game till about 4 or 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because of how big not only the actual day one patch, but also the copying from the disc over to the console for all the kind of the grunt work that took ages as well. And I think I know we all play Stadia, but it really does overlook the fact sometimes week on week that we just jump into these games like Borderlands. Bang!
I always take it for granted a bit at the moment when I'm playing Stadia. It's like I could literally click 1 or 2 clicks from where I am at the moment and be in playing Red Dead Redemption 2. If I wanted to do that on PlayStation, it'd take hours to get sorted.
Yeah, we'll be playing the game within a minute.
And sometimes when I go back to pick up my PlayStation or pick up my Switch, it's like, oh, these are things
that required.
These are things that I haven't dealt with in a while.
But this is this whole idea that we are sort of moving towards the future of it, and this is what people need to start understanding, is that those sorts of like the whole idea with these types of technology is that we want to try to make life easier in certain ways as well, don't we? We don't want to waste time because we haven't got time to waste. So that's, again, one of these other benefits of doing cloud gaming, is that we're not wasting time by waiting for these like the installation when you buy a game, copying files from a disk, day one patches, firmware updates. It's just like, sod it, throw it all out the window. It's just like it's pointless.
You go around a friend's house.
It really is.
Tom, you mentioned earlier at the moment you're dog sitting for your parents. So if you were to play a game on PlayStation, you'd have to open your PlayStation, upload your save files, assuming they have one, re-download them. And that is something I look after my parents' dogs quite often, and I've done that so many times just to move files between the 2 PlayStations. Don't have to do it anymore.
Gotta say, I do sort of pity the Stadia development team a little bit, because it must be tough for them when you've got an entire community of people who are sitting there staring at their screen, waiting for something to happen, like waiting for a new feature to be added. Yeah. They must be working under such stress at the moment to try and get things out to us as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Because
it's all new.
Yeah, because it seems like it's like every 2 minutes somebody's got something to say about, oh, we haven't got this yet, like we need to have this feature and so on. Yeah. So, credit once again, shout out to the guys at Stadia Dev Team. You are doing a great job, and it is nice that you are getting these features to us. Thank you.
Yeah, I totally echo them sentiments as well, Tom, because the reality is all the other consoles have had similar issues. We had the PlayStation outage of 2000, whatever it was, where they just went offline for the entire Christmas period and well into the new year. We've had Xbox Red Ring of Death, which killed a bunch of people's 360s back in the day. And these are a lot of issues that, pardon me, hopefully we're not going to experience as regular. There will be bumps in the road. But
to the credit, I can't really think of any sort of issue like that Nintendo have had. Unless you count the Wii U.
Yeah, I was going to say the Wii U was probably their biggest glitch they've ever had.
But I think the biggest thing was just a bad design console that people just weren't vibing with.
Yeah. And Nintendo are good for completing their products to 100% readiness, as opposed to getting a game out that's half-baked.
What they're not good at is supply and demand. They never have enough of the product in stock.
Is that intentional to drive up the exclusivity?
Yeah, this is what people say, and I do sort of see that. So it could definitely be a marketing ploy right there. But
it's probably a bit of both. It's probably a bit of, you're not sure how things like the Amiibo is a classic example there. Not sure how well these are going to sell, so let's manufacture what we think to be on the safe side, because if it flops, then you're fine. Yeah. And it also then ramps up the exclusivity. So okay, round 2, here you go, as much as you want.
I'm sure there's loads of numbers that show the pros and cons of both. But the reality is come Stadia base, anyone you talk to wants it. Don't need to go to a shop to buy it. You literally go on google.stadia.com, create an account, link it up to a bank to pay for it. Boom, you're done. You're in. Playing within less than a minute.
If you've already got Google Pay, it's actually a Google account. It's probably just one click. to get all this set up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't set up my bank account for Stadia. It was just there. I bought it from a Google account, and it's all there for me.
Great, nice,
seamlessly easy. And yeah, so moving on then, and speaking of spending money and linking it to your Google Pay, we also got some new Pro deals this week, which we've been asking for since Black Friday and Cyber Monday's non-existence. We won't go back there. Just think 2020 will be in a completely different place for Black Friday, and they're going to have some cracking deals live because they're not going to want to repeat 2019. No, they will. I don't believe that'll happen.
I agree.
But yeah, so Pro deals for this current week, or probably I think leading up to the new year now. We obviously got Ghost Recon Breakpoint dropped on the Thursday, and we had Borderlands 3 earlier in the week. Both, to I'm sure all three of our delights, came with a significant discount from the base price. So just to run you through a few of them, we had Just Dance launched back on day one. That was £39.99, and that's been reduced to £23.99. We had Grid, which, for my opinion, was probably the most overly priced game on the entire store for what it actually is. £54.99 was the initial price, and that's now dropped down massively to £22.
I don't necessarily agree Grid was overpriced. I think it's one of them games, either you're into racing games, in which case it's probably worth the money, or you're not.
I mean, really, I don't even know who the developer is.
I'm still not buying it for £22 because I'm just not interested in the game at all.
Yeah,
no, I
don't think Grid's not quite a Need for Speed level. I don't think, from what I've seen of it anyway.
Grid,
it's more like Project Cars kind of level.
Just to confirm, Grid is made by a British company. It's made by, you will have heard of them, you will know them, Codemasters.
Yeah. So it's not quite past World Rally Championship levels then.
But
not quite.
Don't they have an exclusive game mode in Grid for Stadia, where there's extra people on track?
Yeah, it's the extra cars in the race using the server power. So yeah, it's again, it looks decent, but like you, Richie, I'm not that into racing games.
Yeah.
But if you are, pick it up now for £22 or your nearest local economic price. Borderlands 3 was £49.99. It's ironic, actually, I would say, because it hasn't been that price yet.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's some kind
pros.
of marketing standards thing where you're not allowed to publish a discounted price until it actually has that locked in price for a certain amount of time.
That's the
not
base
supermarkets.
edition.
Yeah. So it was £49.99 apparently, but now in the discount it's currently down to £32.49. And Ghost Recon Breakpoint was also priced at £59.99, and thankfully, due to the Pro deal discounts, brings it down to £30. So a lot of savings, and I do think when base goes live, these discounts alone are going to give the merits to the Pro deal. So I think being a Pro user come March onwards when base is live, I think there's enough discount and value in that if you're buying these games to merit your $9.99 a month.
Yeah, you make that back on Borderlands alone.
Yeah, one purchase. So if you are big in a game and you frequently buy the latest title releases, especially if they're going to be day and date with launch, imagine, say Grand Theft Auto 6 is just a random game plugged out there. Launches on all consoles day one. You buy it on anywhere else, it's a locked-in price. But on Stadia, if you're a Pro user, you get it for 10 or less.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think how much have I saved by being Pro this month. So I've got Farming Simulator and Tomb Raider for free. I saved money on Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and I've saved money on Borderlands. That's probably about getting on for 4 or 5 months worth as a subscription in terms of value.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you've got to look at like games like Borderlands 3 and Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which, Ghost Recon Breakpoint only came out at the start of October. So realistically, when it's come out, it's been like 2 and a bit months, and they're already slashing it to like half the price from retail. So, you can see the merits of having that Pro subscription, especially if you can pick up a relatively new title for that cost.
I think most of these only run up till Christmas Day as well, so you'll have to act quickly if you want to get them. Grid's the 1st of January. Ghost Recon is Christmas Day. Borderlands is Christmas Day. Just Dance is Christmas Day.
Yeah.
That these sales expire.
Now, an interesting one regarding the sale prices, which I had a brief passing thought earlier in the week when all the discounts and prices did come out. If we look at Stadia as of now, do the stores still have their initial price? We don't have the American price. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Because this happens in physical media, but I did some quick maths calculations and using the power of Google and a currency converter. In the UK especially, we're still being ripped off by about £2.50. We're still paying a slightly higher price due to exchange rates.
Yeah, it tends to
round
be
it up.
Quite strange in that sometimes you'll see games that are released, let's just take a random figure like $39.99 US, right? Sometimes some developers just tend to push that price immediately into pounds. Like they'll just literally just change the symbol.
Copy.
Yeah. And it's a little bit harsh.
I think what they tend to do is they'll probably price the game in dollars. They'll probably convert that directly into pounds and then round up to the nice number or the nearest 0.99.
I can excuse to a degree when it's physically shipped, because there's different shipping costs and logistics involved. When this platform is entirely digital, I don't think there should be an excuse for every price not being fair across the board, regardless of country. I think if you pay $60 for something, the conversion rate should be 1-to-1, because there is absolutely no reason for distribution or any other costs involved.
It's nothing. I don't think it's anything to do with distribution costs. I think it's just entirely they're rounding to a nice number and they get away with it. So the extra
they get away with it.
£1 per game. If you sell 500,000 copies of Borderlands 2, you get £2. That's £1 million.
Yeah,
that's not insignificant.
It's totally not. But when we talk about again your community and your fan base, it's not Stadia's not out in Australia yet, is it?
I don't believe so. I think
don't
it's
recall.
in some European countries, the US, the UK.
Yeah, and I
Canada?
know. Yeah, I think Canada is because the grip controller is now available on the Google Canada store. I saw that this week. So we can't have it, but they can. So good luck enjoying your grip controller with your Pixel phones, Canadian listeners. But yeah, I know Australia are notoriously bad for being ripped off in their price conversion for Australian dollars. I've seen many comments on YouTube videos and such in the past when they pay incredibly high increases on game prices. It's not even down to conversion rate; it's beyond that.
There's taxation as well that we haven't considered. Different games will have
digital
different
sales tax
tax.
and things like that.
We know Google doesn't pay any tax anyway.
Oof.
Yeah,
Full
but you
stop.
do.
I do.
First topic, Chris.
Passing the savings on to you. That's
passing the savings on to our shareholders.
Exactly. So again, some great pro deals this week. We don't want to dwell too much on that, but yeah, I just did a few straight conversions, and it was just and just like, I know it's only £2.50, but we're all using the same tech, so yeah, something they could look at. But I understand from a visual standpoint, they want the price to look nice on screen. Yeah, nice. I do prefer a nice rounded up.
If you look at the same sort of numbers across any sort of entertainment media, you're going to find similar trends there, probably.
That's true. So until it's regulated and clamped down on, who knows? They may start paying tax.
A global entertainment regulator.
Yeah, exactly. Massively. Well, they're looking at it with the loot boxes, and governments are starting to get involved. So who knows how it'll affect the prices. The same thing happens on mobile stores. If you buy a game for iPhone, and it's 99 cents, that conversion rate gets rounded up to like £1.50, £1.49 in the UK and stuff. So it happens across the board. But speaking of spending money and buying games in loads of deals, the Borderlands 3 DLC has been delayed on Stadia until 2020. Yeah. So, Tom, obviously you've played quite a lot of Borderlands 3 on PlayStation 4.
I has.
What's your take on the Stadia version not having the DLC that is out as of yesterday, I believe, on consoles?
Takedown at the Maliwan Black site is endgame content, so that's been out a little while longer. But Moxie's Heist of the Handsome Jackpot, that was released on Thursday just gone, so I believe that was the 19th of December. Kind of a bit of a bummer that it doesn't come out straight away. I know there's been a bit of controversy once again around Stadia, and some fingers have been pointed at like who's responsible for this. But the fact that the Stadia version only has the patches up to, I believe, the 24th of October is the version of Borderlands 3 that we've currently got. So there have been some changes that have taken place since then. Things like tweaks to the different modifiers for characters, skills, weapon modifiers, actual in-game performance, and sort of quality of life changes and so on. Personal feelings of it doesn't bother me that much, and I think the reason it doesn't bother me is because we've just got the game, so we haven't had the chance to sort of really sit down and blast through it to the point that we can access DLC or do end game content. I mean, for those of you who keep very up to date with us and follow the YouTube and Twitch channels, which I do strongly suggest that everybody listening to the podcast does. Thank you. We have got a number of characters that we run together at the moment, and I believe we hit around level 8 or 9 last night, possibly. I know Chris slightly behind, but
I've caught up now. I've played a little bit today.
Good man.
This is actually a topic we talked a bit on the live stream, and
we did.
My theory in this is just down to certification. Is this the version that's sent up for certification?
Quite
That's
possibly.
where the cutoff is.
Yeah. But I mean, we're also running other characters so we can experience the game ourselves solo at the same time, because we're not always going to be able to play together. But for entertainment purposes, we want to obviously run something together with you guys. But I mean, I've just hit level 10 on my solo character. But again, I've put a lot of time into it today, but it's still not enough to be able to say like I'm anywhere through the playthrough. Like even on the PS4, I've put a bit of time into it. I think I was about level 36, 37, something like that. But it does start to plateau a little bit later. So you do need to have put a lot of time into it to access that end game stuff anyway. So it doesn't bother me because we haven't had that much of an opportunity yet. People could say it's unfair, but
2020 could be January though.
It could
and that's like 2 weeks from now.
That's a fair point, but we know Google don't stick to them timeframes anyway. So actually, saying that, Tom, talking to Borderlands 3, we had someone write in with a question asking how it compares to the console variant.
I have to say that in regards to that, it performs way better than it does on PS4. Now, I know there have been some changes recently in terms of patch content and so on there, but I haven't had a chance to experience that. But I know originally when it first came out that the UI system was extremely sluggish. Like, it was awful to actually experience. Obviously, for us, it's you'd say it's pretty decent.
Are you using
I didn't notice the problem.
Base PS4 or a Pro?
Base PS4, but I know people who run it on Pro as well. And the issue was not with the console; it was with the software itself.
Yeah.
So it was with the game.
Yeah, I remember hearing when it initially launched, there was a lot of fan backlash around the interface for the menu systems was too complicated, and it almost the struggles ran to actually get it going.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah. Sweet. So I think final story then we've got there the older Chromecasts. We got a quick tweet came out this week from the official Stadia account, which mentioned that the original Chromecast, if you've got one of those stuck in the back of your TV that predate the ones that came packaged with the Founders and the Premier editions, now support Stadia, which is fantastic news because that means you can jump on to another television, or you could even go out and purchase one to actually get involved with and jump on and play Stadia. So, Richie, you got any old Chromecasts sticking around?
I don't actually. It's only the Chromecast Ultras, not the base of Chromecasts. And because I only actually have one television in my house, when I replaced my old Chromecast with the Chromecast Ultra I got with Stadia, I've actually donated to my dad.
Ah, so have you given him a buddy pass to use Stadia?
Well, you can't on a space level Chromecast.
Oh, that's a very fair point. That's a very fair point. Yet, again, we covered this last week. Yet, hopefully they're going to roll out some patches so I can play in a lesser resolution. But if you go buy a Chromecast Ultra now, they are still £69 in the UK to buy brand new. So it's almost, you might as well just commit to that Premier Edition. Get yourself a nice white Stadia controller.
Oh, Wasabi.
No, with the Premier you need to get it's the white one. The Wasabi's only for additional controls. They really should, because I know one of our listeners and followers and most dedicated fans out there, Ashley, has her eyes set on the Wasabi controller, and unfortunately she has no way of getting one because
can you just buy one of the
Ghost? No, it has to be bought additional, so you don't get like an account with it. You just have the control. So yes, you can buy the controller standalone, but you need the Premier or the Founders Edition to get the actual access to the servers, which seems a bit very niche choice.
There's a bit of a workaround. She buys a Wasabi controller herself and we'll just give her a buddy pass.
Well, she's supposed to reach out to one of us.
Yeah. Or maybe join in the live stream and we'll potentially give one away.
That's true. She could get in on that. Right, gentlemen. So that brings us to the end of this week's show. Unless you've got any other stories you'd like to drop in.
I think that's about it. The only other thing I just want to say is, once again, obviously now you have put some faces to the names, those of you who are listening and enjoy watching the live streams. I said it earlier in the show, but again, do go check us out on YouTube. We are putting some video footage out there for you guys now of any of the games that we play, and we are also live streaming on both YouTube and Twitch. So give us a shout out, pop in, say hi if you see us live, and definitely follow us. Everything goes a long way for us.
Yeah, definitely. So that's all we've got time for this week's show. Thanks to everyone out there who's listened and tuned in. Remember, you can find us over on all the major podcasting platforms and YouTube. Just search for Sounds of Stadia and you'll no doubt find us. Don't forget about the new video that is live right now, the Farming Simulator one. Jump in and check that out. Laugh along with us. If you are enjoying the content so far and you feel so inclined to do so, we do have a Patreon page as well over at patreon.com/Sounds of Stadia, where our founders tier starts at the low donation of 78 pence or $1 for all those beautiful Yanks over the pond. New episodes go live every Monday, and as a heads up, we are also going to record after this a Christmas special episode for our Game of the Year discussion, and that's just going to be our choices, nothing official. We're just going to chat about it and see what our favourite games are. But even though it's the festive season, hopefully you'll have some time with your friends and family over the next couple of days. Be nice and merry, but the SOS team will be there for you too, and our lovely little podcast will be present for your ears and for your listening. So thank you again for the love and support you've given us so far in 2019 in getting Sound of Stadia off the ground and up and running. We really do appreciate it, and we can't wait to see what the new year brings. So I've dropped it in the dock for you gentlemen to say, but it's a Merry Christmas from me.
It's a Feliz Navidad from me.
It's a Frolici Weihnacht from me. He gives me the hard one. Give himself English.
That wasn't intentional at all.
That
was not intentional. But it was totally intentional. So yes, we've been Sounds of Stadia. Thank you very much for listening. Hope you have a good Christmas and New Year. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Ho, ho, ho.